To all who peruse these pages,
the events contained within these papers may cause shock and awe.
Readers may duck beneath their covers at mentions of cannibalistic crewmates, peek behind their fingers lest they read of eviscerated eyeballs,
run screaming from words of deadly drownings,
or drop their books in shock at violence too vicious to describe.
Do you dare to proceed forward?
Are you ready for the shocking events contained in this very book?
Then prepare yourself to venture beyond the cover and embark upon the journey of the Aegolius.
Chapter 2, Tip of the Iceberg. We see 6 people seated in small folding chairs, sitting around in a circle, or a semicircle of sorts, on the roof of the bridge of the Aegolius. There's a metal ladder leading back down into the enclosed bridge itself, the hatch to which is closed and sealed shut so that none of the hot air leaks out. The cold air of the night eats and nips at your any exposed skin you might have. We see all together at once for a 2-hour shift this evening the members of cabin number 7, including even the one and only Dr. Ridley, who you are obligated to be here.
And I shall.
It's only a 2-hour watch for this section of the night. It's been 3 weeks since the last time we saw all of you, so it's been 3 weeks since you've been sailing all together. Liam Vicari is here, Aspen Forsteri seated as well, as Winthrow, the young dragonborn Gizmo, bundled up in fur coat and goggles, is seated out here, as well as the 6th member of your cabin, Bright Gallant, who is... His face is exposed and he is drinking heavily. You've been out here, it's probably been 90 minutes of your watch already at this point, and nothing really has happened. How are all you dressed for this weather outside? It's frigid, probably around -30.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
geez.
Very cold already. There's some ice in the water, but nothing sizable, not sizable enough that you would blow the horn, or there's a hanging wire that you can pull on to sound a horn that will alert the ship to an iceberg in the water, which is what you're watching for. You have 2 sets of binoculars for the group, but you don't see any of those floating around, so what's everyone doing? And how are you dressed for the weather?
I think that Larkin is definitely like bundled up in their typical like multiple layers of coats, including their lab coat. I think that they're also wearing this like, it's made of cloth, like the same kind of cloth that you'd see in like hospital bed sheets, like a white surgical mask, partly because it's part of their garb, but also partly just to keep their face warm out here in the cold. I think that they probably have, I think that they brought a pair of earmuffs up with them, but then they sort of realized like, oh, we need to be watching and listening for stuff. So there's just like some earmuffs like sitting on the ship floor next to the roof up here next to everybody.
Yeah. Okay. What about the rest of you?
Liam's sort of dressed in like the standard steel toe worn boots and like the baggy cargo pants. But they've got their heavy wool like coat worn over themselves, and they've got like a hood with like the like actual like fuzz and stuff around the hood lining.
Okay.
They've got some like thick gloves on. They're just sort of like shuffling a deck of cards, sort of like almost bored.
Yeah.
And like just looking out over the water a little bit before going back to shuffling.
Okay.
It's been 3 weeks, and I haven't really shortened my fur, so that has helped me a lot for insulation. But on top of that, I am wearing a different kind of poncho. It's wool and very thick. And instead of not having shoes, I'm wearing boots that reach up to my knees. Just make sure that everything is covered, including like probably a mask that goes above my head, like not just like a face mask, but like sort of a baklava, or is that the food?
A balaclava.
Balaclava. Yeah, like a
Aspen
balaclava.
has baklava on her face.
Tasty.
Yeah,
Okay.
and she's like one of the people holding the binoculars. She's probably
binoculars.
standing up and looking around,
Okay.
like a looking
Like a
for
cat?
prey, but not really.
Okay. And Winthrow.
Winthrow is wearing her heavy like coat with the gray fur, and one hand is in the pocket at the front of the coat, but the other that's kind of showing and holding the other set of binoculars and kind of just not like going back and forth, but just kind of like just like looking out.
Yeah.
And she's also wearing like these like thick gloves on her hand. She's
Cool.
wearing this hat that's kind of like specially designed for elves to like keep their
With the
ears warm
ears.
and everything.
Cool.
And the thick brown pants and her old brown work boots.
Okay. Gizmo sitting out here, this young, thin dragonborn. His teeth are chittering a little bit. He's bundled up quite extensively compared to the rest of you, but still seems to be quite cold. And then, as I already stated, bright Gallant. He doesn't have his hood pulled up, and he had pulled his goggles down, and he seems to be taking very large sips, swigs, if you will, of his flask, and is just sighing heavily. He'll extend the flask to you, Dr. Ridley, and he'll even say, "How about it? Want a drink?"
Well, I am not working at the present moment, so I suppose this is one of the few opportunities I might have to take some of your fine, whatever this is, and I'll take a swig.
Yeah. Yes, you take a swig, it burns the back of your throat and comes up through your nose. It warms you up for a second, and then the cold sets back in. It's a very cheap tasting rye. And he'll kind of, Bright will scratch at his face where stubble has started to grow, and he'll say, "I don't know how long it'll all last. At this rate, we're not making much progress. We're going a lot slower than I would have expected. So I might not have brought enough to last there and back. I don't know how I'll get along with the rest of you when I run out."
Well, I suppose we best make the best of our relationship while you are still well equipped with some
Yes.
liquor.
Become good friends before things go worse.
I mean,
Precisely.
don't they have a place where you can get more of those in here? My
Well,
other
I'm sure I'd have
voyages
to-
have a room just for
Yeah.
those.
I haven't made friends with anyone working in the mess or in the cargo, but I'm sure I could get liquor from someone. I just haven't really secured that relationship yet. But maybe like the doc here says, I should probably do that before I run dry. Right?
Running out of time, are we? And I'm going to like point at my wrist without a watch.
Yeah. Next to you, Liam, Gizmo, his teeth chittering, will kind of lean over and say, why are we on the lookout for these icebergs anyway?
I'm surprised you managed to even get that sentence out with all your stuttering and the combination of the cold and your teeth rattling.
Yeah.
Never mind. Well, icebergs are dangerous. They are large masses of ice. We are all on a ship. Icebergs can tend to puncture holes in said ships, causing the ships to sink.
Isn't the ship designed to go through ice though? Why would an iceberg make any problem?
I don't think you should ever underestimate icebergs. They can be extremely deadly.
Do you have seafaring experience, Mr. Liam? You certainly sound like you have a bit more expertise than perhaps some of the rest of us. I have to admit, I'm echoing the same question. I don't know too much about this either.
I've accompanied my father back home every so often to go into the Arctic seas to mine some icebergs. There's a lot of hidden treasures you might find in an iceberg, just frozen, suspended in ice. Although
Hidden
one
treasures?
day, an iceberg snuck up on us from the fog, and we were stranded on there for quite some time and had to wait to be rescued. So you should never underestimate how sneaky and how deadly icebergs can be to basically anyone who doesn't know their way around the ocean.
Are the rumors true about the captain? You're talking about people without a lot of experience worrying about icebergs. Is this really a first-time excursion for our captain?
That's what I heard from the other crew members, yeah. And from Aspen over there, right? And he'll smile at you. Bright glance smiles at you.
Apparently, it's been many years since he last thread the waters, so I'm not really sure why he's the one leading this expedition.
Mm-hmm.
Well, nothing's happened yet.
Are
So
we
until
looking
something absolutely ridiculous happens, I think we're fine.
Are we looking for anything specific about these icebergs? Is there a way to find out if they are the iceberg that will puncture the ship?
I mean, if it gets
I
closer to
mean-
us, probably the best answer we got.
Yeah. I mean, the captain said something when we set out about stopping to mine oil. I don't know if you know anything about that, Vicari. Does that have to do with the icebergs, or is there islands out here? I don't know anything about this. I just help out where I can. You're the one here for mining.
Well, one thing's for certain, go into an iceberg to mine for oil. Not exactly where you would want to go to mine oil. I don't think
Wow.
you'll find any in ice.
But you
No.
did mention hidden treasures.
Yeah.
If it's not oil, what sort of nature of treasures are maybe people hoping to find here?
Is gold or stuff? Shipwrecks?
A little bit of both, mostly bones.
Oh.
What's so valuable about bones?
You'd be surprised the kind of stuff you can build with bones,
That
especially
is
whale
true.
bones.
You build stuff with bones?
Well, back home we build a lot of stuff with bones.
I mean, I know that you can get some oil from bones.
Sure, maybe if they've been dead for thousands of years.
I don't think they'd be in ice if they were dead for thousands of years, though.
Listen, tools, architecture. You can use a lot of that bone for support and material and a lot of stuff.
Do all of y'all suspect that might be a reason as to the presence of a certain order aboard this ship? They've, been around my medical bay a couple of times, and for the life of me, I still cannot figure out what exactly they are doing here. What do y'all think? Some kind of mining operation?
Talking about those moths hanging around fires and everything. Have you seen them? I don't know if they've come to your medical bay. Sometimes they'll just stand on the top deck staring at the lamps or the oil lamps for hours or so before wandering back down. I haven't spoken to them yet. They scare the hell out of me.
I don't mean to speak ill of anyone aboard this ship. I'm not looking for conflict, but I'm inclined to agree that it is mighty strange. The very first day, one of them, Keeper Devon, I believe, came into my medical bay, insisted on saying a few words, and essentially critiqued my entire presence aboard the ship, claiming people should go to the room that I later learned, based on the speech that I missed, is apparently off limits. It was a very odd conversation, particularly in retrospect.
Sure, they're weird, but they haven't bothered me at
Yeah.
all. So I have no reason to dig any further.
Perhaps that's wise. It just gets me. If they indeed did place a significant role in creating this expedition, what are they getting out of it?
Well, they seem to love light, and there's apparently only darkness up north. I mean, I've been north, and it is dark, but how much darker can it be once you go up further north?
It seems strange that people who love light so much would want to be in such a dark place.
Winthrow.
Yo.
You aren't paying that much attention to this conversation. You are doing your steadfast duty of watching straight forward through binoculars for any incoming icebergs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's kind of like background noise.
Yeah. Can you roll for me a spot hidden?
Ooh, one of my specialties. Oh no.
You fail.
Well, no, one of them fell on the floor. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna grab,
Yeah, absolutely.
I grab another dice.
Oh, I can't wait till we find the legendary oil-filled iceberg.
Yeah.
Okay, that is a 32, which is under my half.
Oh, awesome. So that's a hard success.
Yay.
You see distant on the horizon, probably about 1.5 kilometers out from the ship at this point, off the starboard side, a small crest emerge from the dark black sea. It's hard. It's very difficult what you're doing right now. It's the dead of night. The sky itself is clouded, so none of the stars are even shining above you. The moon isn't out. It's just pitch black in the sky and in the ground, where the sea below rips and crashes against the hull, but you can't really see any of the details of it. Outside of those oil lamps hanging on the top deck that illuminate the deck itself and some of those waves, but nothing else. But very much contrasting against that pitch black sea, Winthrow, on the horizon is a greenish purple hue, almost a glowing light you see as the crest of an iceberg peeks out from beneath the water's surface. It seems something inside is glowing, but it is without doubt an iceberg. You don't know how large it is yet, but you can never be too sure.
And it's coming towards us?
Yes, it's about 1.5 kilometers away. The boat's traveling at a decent rate. It should be here in the next 2 minutes or so.
She's going to look over to Liam, and she's going to say, know anything about glowing icebergs?
Excuse me? He's gonna like look
She's gonna
to sort of the direction where...
Yeah, she's gonna point it out and then hand over the binoculars to kind of see it. And she's also gonna go over to where the thing is, because
the wire is.
Yeah, because it's coming towards us. But I want to get his word on it first, kind of thing.
Absolutely. Yeah,
I will
you put
look
your
through the
hand on that
binoculars.
wire. Liam, you look through the binoculars. It looks to be a quite massive iceberg. The tip of it is sticking out, jutting like a little anthill out from the ocean's surface. But your experience with bergs would tell you that is probably massive. It's probably larger than the ship. It is glowing a greenish purple inside, and it illuminates the blue ice on the exterior. It's as if something inside of it is glowing, which is not something which is expected with icebergs.
Yep, sound the wire. Sound the wire immediately.
Yep, pull it.
Okay, and we hear a loud horn blowout and a frenzy from below deck. And the hatch... that hatch from the ladder, the one that leads down to the bridge, will pop open after a few moments, and the shipmaster Wright will stick her head out and kind of climb up, and she hold her hand out and say, "Binoculars."
I'm going to shove it to her.
You just
If both of you try to hand her the binoculars, she'll grab
Dual
one of the
binocular.
sets.
One in
She'll
front of the
hold it
other.
up. She'll hold it up and stare for a few moments at it as it approaches closer and closer and closer and closer. And then put down the binoculars and look at you, Liam, and say, your explosives are down in cargo hold A. I'd go get them ready, and the rest of you go get an away ship prepared.
All right, finally some excitement. He's gonna run down the ladder to
Absolutely.
the bridge. Close the hatch unless everyone else is following.
Are
Well,
they
we have to
There's
prepare.
ways. Yeah, there's ways to get down to the main top deck without
Okay.
going inside. So you can absolutely
Okay.
close that and
yeah.
keep the heat in. Yeah.
Okay.
Time to go
I'll
get
jump-
my explosives.
Oh no. And I'll get the away ship ready then.
Absolutely.
I guess that's our job
Um,
now.
Shipmaster Wright will come over to you, a doctor, and will say, Dr. Ridley,
Yes.
I know it's not in your wheelhouse, but we'll send three ships out. If you could go with them in case it goes awry.
I will do what I
Explosives at
can.
night in the sea doesn't seem like a good combination to me, so please be careful.
Let me grab my first aid kit and I will do everything in my power.
Good. And she'll push the binoculars into your hands and then go down. So As we scramble, we see a quick montage. Aspen and Winthrow, I assume you two are preparing one of these ships. It's a long boat, a rowboat, that is, and getting it ready to be dropped over the side of the ship. You're readying that, getting everything in order. Have the two of you done this before?
I've helped someone more who knows how to do it.
Okay.
But basically, I know how to assist. But in terms of, I remember some stuff, but I'm not an expert at it.
Winthrow, if I recall, you traveled mostly by land, so this might be a bit more foreign to you.
I think Winthrow is kind of working off of like whenever they would be taking a separate piece of transportation, they would have to get stuff ready for that as well. And so she's kind of using like blankets, like in case something happens, like extra preparedness, and then like general tools that will probably be needed. That's how she's packing it.
On the walls next to where these boats are stored, as you descend the stairs from that viewing deck, like that watcher's deck, you descend the stairs just to the main deck and head towards the back of the ship, the both of you. And where there are those longboats, there are 4 of them. And you seem to be preparing one of them. You see a hustle and bustle as crew members like ants from an anthill rush out of that from below deck to prepare 2 of the other ships. You see some of them are wearing overalls, which would indicate that they're boiler masters as they work on this stuff. And then they close the door quickly as you feel the heat kind of warm just the tip of your nose up almost, right? Like it leaks out and then they slam that door shut. Also accompanying you and trying to help out in preparing these away boats, this long ship, are Gizmo, the Red Dragonborn, and Bright Gallant, that other like crew hand man who's in your cabin with you. And so the 4 of you prepare this ship, and you, Winthrow, are kind of scrounging around, putting a few extra necessities into the boat and waiting around for Dr. Ridley to return as well as Liam to return. And you see attached to the wall of the ship out here, there is just a rack of what looks like harpoon guns. Would you like to take one?
Do I see anyone else reaching for one of them?
Not at the moment, no. But the case is it's like almost like a cage with like little doors that you open, and then they're just all hanging there, almost like a long rifle, just with this barbed spear stuck in the end of it, and then a large rope and winch. There's about 6 of them, but no one else seems to be grabbing one right now.
I will grab one again. You always have to be prepared just in case something happens. So she takes one out. She doesn't load it right now, like in case something happens, but like she's always working like 3 steps ahead of herself basically. So hasn't loaded it, but she has all the parts in her arm basically, not putting it on the boat, but like with her in case it is said when everyone gets down there, okay, put that on the boat.
Okay. And then in the belly of the ship, we see Dr. Larkin preparing your bag, if I'm not mistaken. Is there anything specific that you're bringing with you?
I think I have like a first aid kit just like sitting at the top of the thing. And I don't even think I'd be like packing specific things. I think it'd just be like a ready to grab and go situation.
Okay.
Like I'm pretty much hurrying.
Perfect. And then we see Liam. You rush to the cargo hold where you were told your materials are. And I would like you, Ben, please tell me what these are. What do these explosives and mining equipment look like?
Oh boy. So there's various boxes of just straight up gunpowder. There's another box that's just a selection of like, oh, here's some sticks of dynamite, some wires. Here's maybe like a box that you can just like remotely
like a detonator box.
A detonator box. Stuff like that. There's also like some pickaxes, there's like chisels, some hammers, anything that you might need to like carve out a specific size something.
Perfect.
Rope.
Yep. The basic essentials of blast mining, strip mining. Yeah. Okay. What about, and I might add this because you do have experience as like canonically iceberg miner. Is there like ice axes and like crampons to keep grip on stuff?
Yes, there's definitely stuff to like keep your grip on ice and like
Okay.
ice picks.
Okay. Perfect. So you grab what you need here, a bag full of explosives, axes for your fellow folk, your fellow crew members, and rush back up to the top deck. And you can jump in that boat. No one really gives you a signal to head away. It's kind of just the boat comes to a stop. You see that you, Liam, as you run up to the top deck, as you manage to climb up this tight, cramped staircase, you hear the creaking of the ship and like the churning of engines beneath you as the ship comes to a full stop. You hear gigantic rattling of chains as anchors were lowered and are being pulled against the ocean floor. And as you emerge on the top deck, you see you've pulled up next to this probably 16-meter tall iceberg.
Oh.
You do not see what remains of it beneath. However, you do see glowing that goes down for quite a few fathoms. The ship is far enough away that if the iceberg were to turn, it would not collide with the ship. They'd have that much sense. And so you can rush over to these boats and just stand there. All of you are lit with almost this greenish purple irradiance that's coming from that iceberg. What do you do?
Well, I'm gonna make sure that we load up the boat with the equipment. Make
Okay.
sure that any of the heavy stuff is sort of balanced out, so that
Yeah.
the vessel doesn't end up like losing balance and tipping.
Okay, perfect. And after that, do you just want to lower yourselves to the water?
I guess so. I mean, we're loading up to go, so
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So Liam runs over, places a couple of these bags that he had grabbed from below. You see just loose sticks of dynamite rolling in his bag, which might set your stomach at a unsteady state. I can assure you that the red dragonborn, this young man on your boat, Gizmo, who's holding one of these ropes readying to lower you all down, looks at that very nervously when you place it into the actual this longboat. And then you hear the other two ships lowered down to the water splash and the creaking of oars and wood as they begin to make their way over to the iceberg. And you, Six, may follow suit.
All right.
This young dragonborn will look at you, Liam, and say, as he rows, and will say, now how exactly do you plan on using that stuff? Because like you know what you're doing. I trust that, but is putting dynamite in an iceberg such a smart idea?
there's such a thing called a controlled explosion. First of all, we're just going to dig out a deep enough hole into the iceberg, and then once we plant these explosives down in there securely, we'll make sure that we create a larger opening for ourselves without causing too much collateral damage.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Can you all make listen rolls for me as you row across this uneasy sea?
The stick of dynamite
oh,
is
that's
lit.
bad. That's a
Shit.
bad roll.
Uh-oh.
That's an 85. I
Oh.
don't fucking hear shit.
That is a 48, but that is above my level, so I do not hear shit.
Okay.
I got 11.
Nice.
Oh,
So
I
just
got
like
that.
a regular.
Okay.
I got 37, so that's a regular.
Okay. So 2 regular successes and 2 failures.
Oof.
As for the failures, the two of you, the water is crashing against this hull. Dr. Ridley, you're just sitting there. You're not actually rowing. That seems to be pawned off on Gizmo and Bright as they row you across here.
I'm just here in case of an emergency.
Yes. And I feel like you can almost... tell me if this is incorrect, but the adrenaline in your is just coursing through you as you're like actually going out to do something. And so I feel like you would just hear the sound of your own heartbeat just going in your ears, like almost just this like impending cold. action.
Yeah, I think I'm actually probably like trying to like calm my heart rate down just because like I don't actually want all of this adrenaline right now, so I'm just trying to like regulate my breathing and not do that, and so I don't think I'm able to hear anything anyone is saying.
Yeah. And as for you, Winthrow, the wind is like pushing into your ears, and you like pull that special hat that you have a bit closer. Maybe it has a chin strap so you can cinch it down a little bit over top of your ears, just so they don't get numb and fall off.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, the wind whips around and you have a hard time hearing anything. Aspen and Liam, you hear almost a deep hum coming from the iceberg, coming from below the water's surface, but in the direction of that iceberg. Just a hum, an irregular sound here on the sea. Not like the hum of an engine or anything like that, or the hum of a song, like the hum of an animal almost.
That doesn't sound very good.
Considering the fact that it's paired with green and purple lights, I don't have much experience with icebergs that do that.
That's very unnatural. I didn't think that.
Unnatural at best, but hey, we'll be fine.
I didn't think we'd get this close to the water.
Would you afraid of water or something? Don't answer that.
Yeah.
I'm just
It's
like
a particularly
swallowing.
Reasonable fear. Water of this temperature, it's not something a person can swim in. Even somebody with substantial swimming experience. I've seen patients in very similar situations. Your body just goes into shock, essentially. You're not even able to move. So staying cautious of any of this water, reasonable decision.
Yeah, but you all know how to swim, right? Bright Gallant says.
That is utterly irrelevant when looking at water at this
But
temperature.
if someone got in, you could get them out. Could you get them out? What do? Do you just throw a rope to them and hope for the best?
I cannot help you there, but I can certainly tell you what to do if somebody exits the water. That's my specialty,
Okay.
not entirely recovering them.
Okay.
That being said, you would wanna recover their body temperature up to regular. Typically here, you would want to use blankets. You would want to
All
get
right.
any cold
I don't
wet clothes
really
off.
care for the details
right,
of it.
right.
But
My
thank
apologies.
you, Doctor. Thanks, Doc. As you come up alongside, Dr. Ridley just keeps listing off how to deal with hypothermia as you run up alongside this massive iceberg.
Your chatter is definitely helping me forget that there's deep water under us and we don't know what's down there.
It's accomplishing a similar purpose for me. That's my real intent here. To be completely.
I know what's down there. The larger half of the iceberg.
Right. Well, that's
And
certainly.
you hear creaking coming from the iceberg itself. It almost, as you watch it, Liam, you're very worried about it tipping at this point. It seems to be a oblong shape, and so you're quite worried as you watch it.
Oval.
Yes. So as the boat pulls up alongside it, you can kind of hold on with those axes enough for you, Liam, to do exactly what you had listed, which is, are you going to climb onto it and then bore a little hole and put dynamite in there?
We're gonna climb onto it. Use the axis to sort of like make a deep incision, or like a slightly deep incision, and then dig smaller holes to slide the sticks of dynamite in, so that it minimizes the amount of explosion that'll be affecting.
Outside.
Like,
Perfect.
outside.
So in that case, do you have an explosives skill?
There's
by chance?
demolitions.
Could you give me a demolitions roll?
I don't know if it's right to say this, but
Yeah.
my demolitions skill is a hobby skill.
This isn't how I make my
Okay.
real money.
Oof. That is a 73.
Oh no.
So is that a failure?
That is a failure
Okay.
because my demolitions skill is 21.
Okay.
Oops.
In that case, you all see Liam climb confidently out of this ship, or out of this longboat. To call it a ship is aggrandizing.
A vessel.
It's a vessel for explosives. And Liam climbs out and onto this iceberg. It's unsteady at best. He digs a small hole using his tools and places a stick of dynamite with a long fuse into it. Liam, as you light it, a very normal behavior, normal for you, you hear a hum. It sings almost a lullaby that you heard as a child.
Oh, not again.
And it distracts you for a moment. You all see Liam standing there for a bit longer than he should be as that fuse burns down. And Liam, when you come back into this, when your attention comes back to the world, instead of listening and looking for that hum wherever that could be coming from, that dynamite's about to explode beneath your feet. What do you do in this split second to try to save yourself?
Oh, shit. I'm going to attempt to throw myself away as far away as possible.
Like, can you roll...
Jump.
Can you roll jump for me? The skill jump.
The skill jump. Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
Oh no.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. That's a 94.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's almost... Is that a critical fumble? That's
no,
almost
that's
a critical
almost
fumble.
a critical fail. It's a failure.
Oh,
Damn.
okay. It's a failure.
Well,
You
goodbye,
failed.
everybody.
Well, Ben, it was nice playing with you today.
Are we unable to like? Is he far enough
This is
for us to be able
a
to
split
pull him?
second maneuver.
Yes. This is
Damn.
This is dynamite exploding. It's not like you can just stop that.
Cartoon explosion, and I go flying into the sky like Team Rocket.
Oh, there's even an entire other forms of damage that is a stick of dynamite, Ben.
Oh shit.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
Oh no.
How convenient is that?
So, what the rest of you see is as Liam plants this dynamite, he just starts stargazing for all interpretations of what he could possibly be doing.
Oh, it's a little
You hear Gizmo in the boat go, shouldn't he come back by now? And as soon as that comes out of his mouth, you see Liam regain his self-awareness and then turn and jump. And as he jumps, that dynamite blows up just where his feet were. Oh, that's not anything bad at all. Liam, please take 4 damage. That was a very good roll. It was 2d10. So please take 4 damage as shards of ice embed themselves into your back and legs. And you just feel a horrible snapping in your right ankle. And you are propelled into the water.
Oh, cool.
Yes, near the boat. And as for the rest of you, you hear this great explosion go, and you see a large cavity form in the ice of that iceberg. Large chunks of greenish purple ice go flying up into the air. A big puff of smoke. The smell of just burning explosive. The smell of burning nitroglycerin in the air as the dynamite went off. And the iceberg begins to tip slightly.
Mhm.
And as it tips, it becomes a lot longer. Like the peak of it dips below the water, and it becomes more just a flat iceberg sitting there, and it
The tip
pushes
of the
waves.
iceberg, indeed.
And in the side of it, you see more of that green, purple, glowing ice, as well as what looks like holes bored in, almost like an insect nest, as it were.
Oh,
Like an anthill.
cool.
But Liam's in the water.
Yes. So how far is Liam?
He's 7 feet away.
Okay.
Very close.
Very close, but reachable by hand or just
If you stuck the oar out, you might be able to. You can grab one of the oars out of the
okay.
other men's hands.
Gizmo, Glant, roll a little bit closer to him and give me one of your oars, please.
Yes. Liam, do you know how to swim?
Yes, I do know how to swim.
Okay, good. So you, for just a split second, feel this immense pain in your right ankle. You feel shards in your back, which, might be something you felt before. And then as you kick your feet, waves crash over top of your head. You have no problem staying afloat, but the sea tonight is a bit tumultuous. So you do go under for a few seconds here and again.
Uh-oh.
When you do so, that humming, that bassy sound, that lullaby that you heard, it gets louder. It almost clarifies a little bit. And it's as if you can hear the words to it almost. And they're coming from, the sound is so clearly coming from that iceberg. It's as if your parents are sitting next to you singing it to you.
That's creepy.
And then your
That's really
head is above the surface once more, and you're fine. Again, can you make me a sanity check
Oh god.
as the rowboat pushes towards you?
Okay, that's a 2.
Oh, so that's
I would have loved to have got that 2 earlier.
You lose
that's
1
good.
sanity.
Oh my god. Well, I could
Thank
have gotten
you.
that roll last time.
So the boat edges closer to Liam, flailing in the water, and Gizmo hands you his oar, Aspen, and you can run to the bow and stick it out for Liam to grab onto.
I'm like digging for like tweezers in my bag, tape, pretty much anything that I can immediately get. I think I've already like shrugged off my coat so that I can like give him some warmth as soon as he gets back in. I'm just
Absolutely.
like pulling through all my stuff.
As the iceberg shifts and you pull off your coat, Dr. Ridley, some water splashes up on you and it's frigid even through your skin. It just soaks straight through. But nonetheless, you get prepared. Winthrow, what are you doing in this moment? Are you just going to help pull him back on board?
Yeah, I think through everything, it's just she's very like background, like helping pull him up. She gets kind of iffy when she kind of like has to look into the water, but she pulls.
Yeah.
She helps pull him up, and then I think she's just kind of, because she's not like a medical expert. She's kind of just waiting in case Ridley, like Dr. Ridley, like says something like, "Hey, can you pass me something?" Like. She's kind of like, she doesn't know what to do in this situation. She's just kind of there to like be help if needed.
Okay. You pull Liam out of the water. He's shivering. His right ankle is shattered, and there are some shards of ice that have embedded in his back. But that is the extent of the injuries, Dr. Ridley.
All right, I'm gonna need some assistance here. I need somebody to take off his jacket. That's only gonna contribute to the hypothermia. We need to warm him with something. The next thing to do, I might need one of y'all to hold him down because we're gonna need to get some tweezers. We're gonna need to get that glass out of him. That's gonna be the most logical step. Liam, I'm gonna be able to get you some morphine, but not until we're able to get back up on that boat. This is our most immediate priority.
Bright Gallant will like move over to hold him down, and will just nod at you. What are the rest of you helping out with?
Will liquor help?
Well, we don't have any morphine right now. It's the best you're gonna do. But let's wait a second because that might thin the blood. We'll give that to him once we got these pieces of glass out.
Okay.
Winthrow helps with like getting the coat off, and like, did Dr. Ridley like bring like a little, like, where's like the little bag of like medical stuff?
So they brought like a first aid kit, so it's not like the entirety of like all of their medical supplies, but it's stuff like tweezers, tape, gauze, scissors, stuff like that.
Okay, she after she gets the coat off, she reaches in there and she pulls out a set of tweezers and hands them over.
Thank you, Ms. Winthrow. And I'm like gonna try to get some of these glass shards out of this guy's body.
Make a medicine roll, please.
Don't kill me, please.
I'll try not to.
Don't kill me any more than I do myself.
That's 004, so I guess that's a 4. So that is a critical extreme success.
Yeah,
Bless.
amazing.
No. That's what the other people are doing. That's what the other guys are doing.
Yeah. Okay, Dr. Ridley, Dr. Larkin Ridley. In this boat, suspended above hundreds of feet of water, you pull pieces of ice out of Liam's back. They are long. They look like they splintered in a way that's just menacing. Like, it doesn't
Like
look like it just...
intentional?
It looks almost intentional, yeah.
Interesting.
Does it like curve and like?
As if the iceberg has a will of its own and it's trying to harm him?
Well, that's a declaration.
I was just wondering if that's what it reminds me of.
They look almost knife-like, as opposed to when ice breaks and it just turns into like little random shards. Every single one you pull out of his back. And maybe this is just the circumstance if there was other shards that did hit him, but since these ones were more knife-like, they went in, you wouldn't be able to know. But this is what you do observe.
Okay.
Another one of those longboats pulls up next to yours, and a man with a very shaggy beard goes, "Oh, what's going on here? Was that the explosion? Is he dead?"
I'm not dead, you idiot.
Oh,
Hold
sorry.
still. I need you to hold still.
Yeah. People are holding you down while Ridley continues pulling things out of the back. The man with the beard goes, "Can we move on with things? Like, can you just pass the explosives over to us and we can carry on with what we're supposed to be doing out here? I don't have a great fondness of being out here in this chill, to be frank with you. And I'd rather we get this done with."
If you want to use the explosions, then be my guest.
I'm gonna hand them the.
Don't blame
explosives.
me if you get yourself killed.
And you're gonna so Aspen, are you gonna hand over the bag?
Do you want me to give them everything?
I don't care.
Okay, I'm gonna shove everything. To them.
You throw
maybe
it
like
over.
keeping two to me for me.
Okay, two sticks of dynamite.
Sticks of dynamite.
Two
for
sticks
me.
of dynamite for Aspen. And you throw the other ones, or hand it over to the man with the beard with the other 6 or the other 5 people in that longboat. He nods at you and says, "I wish you good fortune. I hope that you don't bleed out here on the sea." And he'll nod at you, Ridley, and they row off, and you see them, after a few moments, climb onto that iceberg itself. They seem to be oohing and awing at the lights as they plant another stick of dynamite.
They're gonna die.
Well,
Should we start rowing back?
that might be a good
I
idea.
might want to stay put just in case there's another accident with the explosives. The next step here would be putting Mr. Liam's ankle in a splint. Can anyone grab for me? There should be something in the first aid kit just for a temporary splint before we can get back to the proper medical bay.
And I assume Winthrow, you would go through as you were assisting and pass the requisite materials over.
Is there like an extra oar in the boat or anything like that?
Kind
of like
to like break as like to keep it straight. There would be stuff in the actual medical box or the first aid kit. What would that look like, Sarah? The emergency splint? Because I don't think we need to break an oar just yet.
I think there's probably like some pieces of wood in there to be using just in case, and then I think I can probably just like tape it up with some gauze to like keep it held in place.
Perfect.
Which I might get Ms. Winthrow's help for.
Okay. Wonderful. No need to make the check. I'll let the last one stand on this one. You do an excellent job with this first aid. How are you looking hit point wise, Liam? What's running through your head as well?
Hit points is actually not as bad as this whole thing makes it appear.
Yeah.
I've still got 22 HP.
Oh my gosh,
damn.
you're fine.
I have 11 hit points. How do you have that many?
I am vibing right now.
Yeah. You're fine.
Damn.
Okay. What's going through your head though?
What's going through his head is like, it's both like a focus on like the chill of like the frozen water and sort of like realizing that this iceberg is something that's not really natural. Something is very wrong with this iceberg. Because that's never happened before. And like the whole song and stuff, it's like there's a lot going through his mind right now.
Absolutely.
Like darting back and forth.
You, as you're thinking about this, hear one of those men that went up there yell out like, "There's something down here," and then another one goes, "Do you hear that?" And you then hear another explosion go off, and then you don't hear anything from the other 6 men. But you do hear that iceberg continue to shift. What do you want to do?
What's the visual on them? Like,
They climbed up on top of it, kind of out of sight. That you saw them planting something, but then
Okay.
it almost looked like how I just there's those almost troughs, almost what look like termites. What termites would do to the beams of a house is what the surface of this iceberg looked like, which might just be water melting it away, or it might be something else. But it looked like they went down into one of those troughs out of sight to plant the next stick of dynamite, and then you heard it explode. And now you hear nothing from them, and you do not see them.
Ice termites.
are you all doing all right?
You hear your voice echo across the sea.
I think I've got some more casualties.
You say that so blasé.
I warned them.
With no sound, the particular concern here, I think what we need to be doing is we need to return Mr. Liam over here back to the ship so we can get proper treatment, and hopefully then we can send another boat after for these people. Make sure everybody gets looked at.
Well, I mean, there were 3 boats being sent out. If something happened with one boat, hopefully the other boat would be helping them, right?
You do see the other third boat is probably 20 feet away. It was like waiting for you all to finish with the iceberg. It wasn't like circling or anything. So when you call out, like, are you all okay? Like when Aspen does call that out, after a few moments, you'll hear a voice call out from that boat that says, everything good over there? Like calling out to you all. What's happening?
They're not responding to us.
You go and figure out what happened.
We have an injured man in here.
Okay, we'll come over there. We'll pick him up and bring him back. And then you hear the sound of frustration as this crew approaches yours. One of them seems to be it was this woman that was yelling out to you. She has like pulled back black hair, and she will like they'll pull up alongside your boat, and she like grabs hold of the side of your boat, and then she'll say, okay, put him in our boat. I'll get in there with you. He can ship off, and they can bring him back down to the church or whatever, and they'll take care of him. And then we can go figure out what happened.
Let me go with him. There's still medical attention that this man requires. I gave him basic first aid only. I still need painkillers that he needs access to. His ankle is in a makeshift splint. It is not going to be sufficient for long-term use. Let me take him back to the med bay, please.
She'll like shake her head, roll her eyes, and say, okay, so you take him back, me and Martin. And she'll point at a guy in her boat and say, the 2 of us will get in yours, switch out. They'll bring you back. We'll go investigate. How's that sound?
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. And she'll like stand up, and the boats are very unsteady. They rock mightily. And the iceberg as well seems to be a bit unsteady. Who has the lowest luck?
Minus 65.
Minus 70.
Oh.
I mean, no. That's
I'm
not.
at 45.
Minus 75.
And what about you, Liam?
30.
30 luck.
Well, you're not on our boat, so
30.
not your luck.
So
I'm kidding.
This woman stands up and seems to like clamber over into yours, and like she looks at you, Dr. Larkin, and will say, okay, so we can just pick him up and move him?
Yes, but you need to be particularly careful.
And then she picks him up and like pushes him over into the other boat. The like 3 of the guys in that boat like pull him over into there. One of them pats you hard on the shoulder and goes, "Don't worry, bud, you're in good hands now."
I'm gonna like push him away. Like, oh my god, just get off of me.
He has like
Injured.
a huge handlebar
I was going
mustache.
to say injured.
And then now you can go over as well.
Very well,
Dr.
thank
Larkin.
you kindly.
She'll put out a hand to help you clamber over.
I will clamber with her assistance.
Okay. While this is all happening, can the person with the lowest luck, I think that was Liam with 30, roll luck for me to see what this iceberg is doing?
Get ready for horrible things. Get ready for absolute pain. Yep, that's just what I thought. 80.
80. That's very bad.
That is bad.
The
Fuck.
iceberg
Of course it's bad.
begins to tip. And you might all feel this because, Dr. Larkin, as you take a step over to the other boat, the boats grow distant as the waves push them across. Could you make
Do a splits.
do a split check. No. Could you make for me, I think a jump check would be the most appropriate, unless there's something else. Just something to pull yourself onto that boat without falling into the water. Maybe a climb. Yes, you, Dr. Ridley. Either climb, if you think that's appropriate, or jump, unless there's another skill you see.
I can do jump. They're both 20 for me.
Okay.
So let me roll them.
And this is to prevent you from falling into the water.
Oh
Oh, no.
What'd you get?
Sarah?
I got a 98.
Oh
Hey!
my
God, whatever.
What
All
is
right.
what are these strings of bad luck?
Okay, guess we're just gonna pull this Weenie Hollow into these 2 episodes, and we're just gonna string them out for the whole
Everybody
week.
fucking dies.
Sam,
It was a
Carly, you
pleasure
have to
playing
die
with you,
immediately.
Sarah.
I'm so sorry.
Okay. So your attention is drawn by that iceberg shifting, and you hear a loud splash in the boat with Aspen and Winthrow. You hear a loud splash from behind you as Dr. Ridley falls fully into the water as the boats part. You see them sink like a rock. Ridley, do you know how to swim?
No, I do not know how to swim.
Okay.
Oh, no!
You see Ridley sink, struggle for a second, and then just be pulled under the waves.
Someone gonna grab them?
Aspen yells as the iceberg flips once more.
Oh.
You see 6 bloody bodies tip out onto the water.
Oh.
And to say their bodies is a very aggrandizing way of saying it. You see the components, the parts of 6 different people
Oh my god.
spill out, the viscera and different limbs cascade into the water. A bit of chum almost is what it looks like. And then like a whole sack of dynamite falls into the water after them. The iceberg tips over. Can you, Aspen and Winthrow, make spot hidden checks for me as you can see inside the center of that iceberg for just a moment?
I got a 18.
Okay, is that a hard
I got
success
a-
for you?
No, my hard success would be a 14, I think.
Okay, so
I,
that's just a regular. Cool.
well, I mean,
and
it's
then
under
for
my
you-
35.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, perfect.
I got a 56
Okay.
from 25, so definitely a fail.
Okay, so a fail and then a success, correct? Or is that under
Yes.
your halfway point?
That's
Sam?
under my half, so it would be a
Oh, okay.
hard
So
success.
yeah, that is a hard success, but not like an extreme success. Perfect. Aspen, your focus has entirely shifted to. You do see those body parts fall from the sky or fall from the iceberg. So I need you to make a sanity check. And I also need you to make a sanity check as well. Winthrow, please and thank you.
Yep.
Liam, if you're paying attention, sanity check from you.
Just out of curiosity,
Yep.
for flavor, these body
Yes.
parts, is it like they've been like torn apart, or is it like they've been cut?
It's like they
how
were-
precise.
Yes. It looks like they were cut.
Interesting.
It is those body parts.
Cut.
You see the jackets of the other expedition members, and they don't look blown to bits. It looks like something cut them to bits.
Sanity.
All right, I
Very
gotta-
precisely. Yes. Sanity checks, please.
I got 55.
Was that a
which
fail?
is below my 70.
Okay. Perfect. You lose one sanity.
I also got a 55, which was teetering very close to 58.
Okay. You succeed, so you lose one sanity. And then Winthrow,
34. Below
you got
my
an
70.
you got an extreme success. Please lose one sanity.
Oh, thank you.
And then as for your spot hidden checks, Aspen, you see those body parts fall from the iceberg as it tips and feel the waves crash. You look behind you for just a second to like avert your eyes, and you see Dr. Ridley sinking into the water. So you do not see what is inside this iceberg. As for you, Winthrow, your eyes keenly trained and like you're generally unperturbed by what you've seen in front of you. Those body parts do not linger in your mind very long. What you do see in the transparent sections of that iceberg, though, as this iceberg tips and almost looks like it's beginning to crack in half, like end upon end, and then like the Titanic cracked in half. You're familiar with that?
Yes.
That's what this iceberg visually resembles right
Like
now.
an egg.
Like an egg cracking in half.
Oh, no.
You see in the center, through a small bit of transparent ice, what looks like... Winthrop, what you can only assume is... It looks at first just like a single whale frozen solid in the ice. You hear the humming coming louder from it. Humming you didn't hear before, but humming you hear loudly coming from it now. And the longer you look at it for those split seconds that you have to glance at it, it looks like more and more tails coming from that single whale, almost like 5 or 6 of them pushed together into one animal. And as the iceberg splits in half and sends waves crashing over everyone in both of your boats, water just frigid and freezing onto you as waves come over the edges of it. As you see that, Winthrop, as that iceberg cracks in half, you see that animal just rip into pieces and fill the water with a greenish purple illuminance. Ridley,
Hi.
you are drowning.
Yeah.
You're drifting down in the water. You see the iceberg above you rip, and you see the water covered in this green-purple light. It helps you to see how far away from the surface you are. I need you to make a sanity check because you're drowning in a deep body of water.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. That is a 31. That is a regular success.
Okay. Drowning is one of your fears, is it not?
Yes, it is.
Please lose
Yay.
3 sanity, but congrats on succeeding.
Thank you. I don't know
yeah.
how much longer this success will matter
Last.
because I'm
Yeah.
sinking in
Sanity
the
rolls,
water.
success. Literally anything else, failure.
But at least I'll die with my own mental stability in check.
Woohoo.
The cold water is clawing at your body. It pushes its way into your lungs, and you just feel after 5 or 6 seconds the need to take just a large gasp of air against your better judgment. You just need to, and your body is just filled with frigid water. You feel your skin almost getting warm to the touch, and then you feel arms almost hugging you from behind. You hear a hum in your ear. Did your parents, when you were a child, ever sing you any lullabies?
I'm sure they would have.
Yeah, or is there any other important song in your life that you'd ever heard?
I think that I would have probably been told a lot of like lullabies as a child, kind of like the Rockabye Baby style, like rest, I'm here for you, that kind of very soothing music.
Yeah, that's what you hear as you are. It almost feels like you're being pulled. It's very easy to convince yourself that you're being just pulled under the water. It doesn't feel natural that you should be sinking this much, but you feel almost arms hugging you softly from behind and this lullaby in your ear as you are drowning. On the boats, you are covered in frigid water. You just saw this iceberg snap in half. Winthrop, you saw that whale of a sort ripped in twain. And Aspen, you were concentrating on a drowning Dr. Ridley. What are you doing?
So no one is jumping in, right?
Some people are standing. The man who tapped or slapped Liam on the shoulder and said, "You're fine here," is standing up. He took his hat off, but he is not jumping. He looks to hesitate, and he looks up at you and shakes his head, and he says, "It's not worth it."
We're not going to have another casualty, so I'm going to jump in.
Okay.
Even if I'm very scared of deep water.
Deep water is one of your fears, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Can you make me a sanity check?
So that was a 64, and it's under my 69.
Okay.
Nice.
Haha.
And and deep water is one of your fears?
Yes.
Oh no.
Please,
Oh no.
please, as a success, please lose 3 sanity.
Okay. So that's 1, 2, 3. So now
Yeah.
it's 66.
Nice. You see nicely lit because of that green and purple irradiance on the surface of the water. You see Dr. Ridley their mouth open, their eyes open, just staring up at the surface, drifting down. They're only 2 or 3 feet beneath the water's surface, but they seem to be sinking rapidly.
I am going to try and recover them and grab them.
Okay.
While thinking in my head, I'm like, why would you go on a boat when you don't know you can't swim?
And just to check, Aspen can swim?
Yes. Yes, she can.
Okay. In that case, is there a swim skill?
There
Yes.
is.
Perfect. Could you please roll swim for me?
What?
That's what we do in the main story.
Ooh. I got like an 8 and my thing is 40. And 8 is like 1/5.
Extreme success.
Ooh.
You all see Aspen take off this coat, throw it into the boat itself, say that very cool line, and then jump into the water after Dr. Ridley. She disappears for but a moment, and then very quickly comes back up to the surface with Dr. Ridley, holding Dr. Ridley under both of their shoulders. And you hear Dr. Ridley just coughing and spluttering.
Winthrow wants to help them get out of the water, obviously.
Absolutely. You swim, or the boat is a bit distant, so you can very quickly, both the oarmen push you back towards where you ought to be, and you can help to pull the 2 of them out of there. Ridley, Dr. Ridley, Larkin, you felt those arms leave you, and it almost was like you had some amount of buoyancy in your body. That lullaby stopped the moment that Aspen's hands gripped around you and began to pull you back upwards. That sweet lullaby left you. And you did hear only a few words that just said, in a sickly sweet voice, "We'll be together again shortly," as you got pulled back up to the surface.
Ooh.
And you were pulled into the boat. And a loud horn blows from the Aegolius, and you hear someone yell from the ship that Liam, you were in, "Men overboard! Men overboard!" As more people scuttle to the top of the deck, and more the last remaining boat is sent out to provide assistance. And that's the end of chapter 2.
Oh, damn.
Oof.
Holy shit.